Verse 135. The ego soul is not with the Skandhas, nor are the Skandhas in the ego soul. They are not as they are discriminated, nor are they otherwise. Buddhism is sometimes referred to as the middle way. We tend to think of the middle way as some sort of compromise. A compromise between trying too hard or not trying hard enough. We need to have a balance, and indeed there's a story in the Buddhist canon to this effect, that we should be like the guitar string or the string of the veena, an Indian string instrument. We don't want to be tied too tight or tied too slackly, otherwise it won't sound right. But there's a deeper understanding. What's blocking our enlightenment is our adherence to certain views. And these views can be summed up in accordance with whether we consider ourselves to be religious or scientific. If we are religious, then we look for truth in religion. If we're scientific, then we look for truth in the scientific method. A couple of videos ago, in video 85 I think, I suggested that these two understandings, the religious understanding and the scientific understanding, are a parallel of what the Buddha referred to as the wrong views of eternalism and nihilism. The Buddhist understanding is to do neither with religious insight or scientific insight, nor is it some kind of compromise between the two. Buddhism is a middle way, which means it's neither one or the other. It's neither religious nor scientific. So what's this other way? What's this middle way? What else have we got to go with? Once we know what it's not, what actually is it? Well, the closest we've got to it, at least in the context of modern Western culture, is the way of art, the path of art. What does art mean to us? Well, whatever the medium of expression, whether it's through visual art or music and sound, or words, ideas, the artist is looking beyond the mind. It's looking beyond the mind for something which is ultimately expressed through the medium of the art. This is spirituality. It transcends both religion and science. Both religion and science are actually functions of art, because they too are looking beyond the mind for a deeper reality. This is where the great scientific hypotheses come from. They're expressed by the mind. But problem solving, although the mind is used, it's used to prepare itself for something from beyond the mind. So this is the middle way. It's art in this very precise sense. Most artists probably aren't aware that this is what they're doing. Perhaps we could call spirituality conscious art. Conscious art. This is the middle way. So what's this got to do with verse 135? Well, the ego soul and the skandhas represent these two extreme views. The views of eternalism, as represented by the idea of an ego soul, which is reborn over and over again until liberation is reached, and the skandhas, which is a scientific analysis of what there actually is. Buddhism differs from Hinduism in that it doesn't think in terms of an ego soul. The ego soul is very important to Hinduism. So the Buddhists, they looked at this understanding of the ego soul and asked, well, what basis is there for it? Can we observe this ego soul? No. All they can observe is the skandhas. The skandhas consist in that which attracts our attention, some perception which attracts our attention, and the feelings which drive the attention. There are moods, and there's awareness of these various perceptions. These are the skandhas. This is what there is. Now the wording here is quite specific. The ego soul is not with the skandhas. In other words, they're quite separate ways of understanding. You're not going to find any ego soul in this analysis, which is represented by the skandhas. Nor are the skandhas in the ego soul. So the skandhas aren't some analysis of the ego soul. They're simply a description of what's going on at this moment. They are not as they are discriminated, nor are they otherwise. So although Buddhism doesn't go along with the notion of an ego soul, it doesn't seem to be dismissing it here. There's simply two ways of looking at things. There are two kinds of discrimination, and we're told they are not as they are discriminated. So we shouldn't actually put too much weight into this. But we're also told, nor are they otherwise. So this is saying there's something in it. There's actually something in it. But we shouldn't put too much weight in it. We shouldn't put too much emphasis in it. We shouldn't get too hung up about notions of an ego soul. And we shouldn't insist on the reality of the skandhas either. We're looking for this middle way. We're looking for that which is beyond the mind. This is the direction to which both religion and science look for their solutions. But then they couch these solutions in a particular framework and describe that framework as the truth, as reality. Science, in its more lucid moments, will admit that this is nothing more than a model, although it seems to think it's got something to do with reality. But the reality lies in the direction where science looks. It's where we all look when we've got a problem to solve. We direct the mind and we wait for the solution. And hopefully a possible solution will appear. This is the middle way. This is conscious art. And this is spiritual practice.